emailed to you, which means you can check them anywhere, anytime. Plus, CB24.com's web producer, Perry St. Germain, will be joining us to take all of your calls and questions. But first, catching up with your internet-savvy kids. Most kids are now online, trading their pictures and personal profiles, leaving their parents behind. I'm here with Kellman Meghu from Checkpoint Software Technologies with some tips for parents on safer internet use for the family. Welcome.
Thanks, great to be here.
It's a really good topic because I think a lot of parents feel a little lost when it comes to the computer and being on the net. And so how do you start the process of installing, safe measures for your kids and your family?
Well, the nice thing about the internet is you can actually use that as the tool to find the information you need to get you started. And part of it too, particularly if you feel overwhelmed by what your children are doing, is to make yourself part of it. Have them teach you how they're using Facebook or Twitter or any of the other applications they're involved in. And that not only teaches you, but also gets you involved in the kind of things they're doing, the things they're using.
So don't be afraid. I know a lot of parents are afraid to step into that world.
I think it's important you do it with anything in life. I mean, there's a certain degree of monitoring that has to come with it. Obviously, as the child gets older, there has to be more trust, but hopefully if you start this process at a young enough age, as they mature and get to use the internet more, they'll know better how to handle it.
Okay, and then oftentimes kids are sort of leading private lives online. So how do you open the line of communication?
Getting involved, for example, if there's something they show an interest in, having them, or something perhaps as a parent you have an interest in, going to your child and asking them to help you look something up, discover what they're using. For example, if they have a Facebook page, maybe you should get a Facebook page as well, link to them, and become involved in their online life.
Show interest, and then that way you have something to talk to them about.
Yeah, try to make it a family activity and include it in things like hobbies and things they're doing, so get involved in the things on the internet.
What about protecting your kids online?
Parents should take the time to do things like, for example, with firewalls and AV and antivirus, making sure they understand that these things are set up. There's a lot of resources out there that can help you set up these sort of things. Generally, if you, for example, at a young age, not letting the child have the computer in their room or by themselves gives you a chance at least to keep an eye on them and the things they're looking at, things they're doing.
So would you recommend then having the computer sort of in an open area where everybody can share and see what you're doing?
Absolutely, and that'll go towards making it a family event, as well as protecting the child from maybe hiding things from you.
Okay, and then what about protecting them from going on sites that you, as a parent, don't want them to go to?
There is software out there that will help you control that. You have to be careful though, because they also have access at their friends' houses and the library and an internet cafe. So I don't think there's a 100% method to keep them away from things. But opening that communication, making sure they understand what's appropriate and what's not, is key towards them. Building the trust that they'll go out there and do the right things.
And I guess to educate them as well. What are some of the dangers on the internet for kids?
Well, on top of the obvious, viruses, they could be downloading things they don't want. They could also be giving out private information that potentially shouldn't be out there. A big lesson that kids and adults should remember is when you put things out on the internet, it's not necessarily private. That communication that you think is private to another person isn't necessarily private. So they have to understand that what they put out there is going to be there forever. It could come back to haunt them.
Right.
So be careful about the things you say and do. Really think about it. Would you want your parents to see this? Do you want your future employers to see that?
What sort of private information are we talking about that you shouldn't be releasing, and maybe kids don't understand that?
For example, their addresses, where they live, where they go to school. These are the kind of things that they can talk about with people they know, physically know in the real world. But when you're dealing with strangers on the internet, it's not actually a bad idea to create a persona or, maybe make up a few things if you're trying to protect the details.
And we talked a little bit about some of the typical problems like viruses and things like that. What about a little bit more severe issues such as predators or cyberbullying?
Again, that goes back to making sure that you're involved in what the child's doing, what they're seeing. There's actually a lot of resources out there to help you deal with things like cyberbullying. For example, kidsintheknow.ca is a great site. It gives you age-appropriate tips in terms of what things they should be allowed to do, and some sites are recommended to see.
It doesn't happen often, but it does happen, and it is a reality.
Absolutely. I think sometimes it gets a little overblown, but you have to understand that it is out there, and knowing when to cut off the line of communications with someone and monitoring what they're doing is very important. I heard a story of a child who's probably about 11, 12, whose mother found out the predator was actually talking to the child through Facebook.
Okay.
Now, kudos to the mother for keeping up on it, but that's a reality we're gonna have to face.
Okay, so be on top of it. Keep the lines open of communication and educate everybody in the family. Thank you so much. Those are really helpful tips.
Thank you.
Remember, homepage is interactive, so we definitely want to hear from you. Some of our lucky viewers who call or email us with the question will win a great prize. And today we are giving away a great prize. It is a Belkin swivel hub with 4 ports. We are also giving away a copy of Andy Walker's book, Windows Lockdown, to guard against those internet attacks. So this is how you can reach us. Within the GTA, you can dial 416-872-CP24. That's 872-2724. If you're calling from outside the area, please call us toll-free at 1-888-863-CP24. Now, if you're on the internet, you can also send your emails to homepage@cp24.com. We're going to take a break here on Homepage. Coming up, Dell's newest laptops, the Inspiron 9 and 12.